Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. Thank you, ConTech, for having me at Construction 4.0. And my name is Lyn. I'm from Singapore, and this is built on a red dot and some of the lessons that we have learned and how we're going to survive. So welcome to the kampong. Have you eaten? That's how we greet one another. So we love our food. It's a melting pot of all the food and also arts and culture. And you can see how that's influenced some of our architecture as well. And that's the Esplanade, which is a place for local arts and culture. And that's by the Marina Bay. So who are we? In Singapore, we are a small little red dot. And in 1998, we had a world leader actually say that all the green around us is all in another country, and that small little red dot is Singapore. So we have no natural resources. We have to survive on our own, and we are really tiny. Who are we? We're actually in the whole of Southeast Asia. We occupy a whole landmass of 700 kilometers. We have a population of 5.6, and we have a huge population density of 7.7 per square kilometer. So that's actually a pretty dense population that we have. And while we are small, we also suffered very early on from overcrowding. So this was the British plan of 1822, when we were still Sin City. It was chaotic, it was unwieldy, and it was a metropolis of everything that you could find, but very chaotic. And so that's how we had Housing Development Board and Public Works Department later setting up following the Singapore Improvement Trust, right? And after that, to actually combat some of the sanitation issues, we had our Singaporean start the World Toilet Organization. So we've got some innovative people. Along with the planning, over the years with our Urban Redevelopment Authority in Singapore, we've also started doing digital twins. We've started planning districts, for example, Virtual Singapore, and that was to simulate the whole city island in 3D, and to actually do a lot of the risk mitigation and disaster planning. We also have Punggol Digital District, which is meant to be a hub of all the IT innovation, and that's another industry right in the northeast side of Singapore. And we also have industry with Jurong Innovation District in the southwest side of Singapore, and that's where all the government offices are. And it all started with planning of the Marina Bay District. So you can see with all the different solutions that we've employed, it really takes a village, from concrete innovation to structural to cooling solutions, to piping, steelworks, and precast and prefabrication. So along with all that, you can see that in Singapore, we have a whole of government plan. So the latest one is the whole of government green plan, which involves finance, green bonds, sustainable living, urban infrastructure, green economy, and also all that for resilient future. Right, so these are all the plans that we have, including transportation, infrastructure, and all that is aligned with the UN sustainable goals. And that's something that we need to target to combat some of the effects of climate change. Another thing that we actually have to deal with is a silver tsunami and a talent shortage that we face, right? So how are we going to do all that? We actually started this journey a few years backtrack in 2015, where we actually had a whole of government Smart Nation initiative to actually put in quite a few of the technology in place. Right, so this is where we had sensors, we started exploring blockchain, we had a lot of innovative hackathons, and there was a whole digital government blueprint that was actually put out for the citizens to be a living lab, for the entire nation to be a living lab. Okay. We also wanted to put in a whole bunch of sensors to actually start continuous monitoring, tracking, and all for the purposes of making our island a little bit more efficient. Okay. But remember, I told you about the tsunami of the silver generation. Now we have an aging population and now a shortage of talents. How are we going to build this entire smart nation, which is also supposed to be sustainable? So we actually put in a whole skills future framework and a whole transformation roadmap, and that was across the schools, manpower, and also the economic industry. So we have industry transformation maps that actually go all the way from promoting some of the existing enterprises overseas. We have it for manufacturing and built environment. And this is also where I work in this industry, in the building and construction industry in Singapore. So you can see that there's a lot of push to transform construction, real estate, and to actually build up the entire value chain and supply chain logistics as well. We're going to employ artificial intelligence. We're actually going to be putting in more information about training, more frameworks for training, for DFMA, for IDD, integrated digital delivery. And that's to really digitalize the entire process from end to end, from design to construction, to the FMA, as well as facilities management. This is to really start to make the entire cycle a real virtuous loop so that we can realize the benefits of whatever we've designed and to actually just tweak things as we go along. So these are examples of the real estate transformation map that Singapore has actually put out. All things to transform the industry as well as to drive innovation, to get us to think about things. And you can see quite a few of the industry players are our larger SMEs. And there's a huge push to also back up all the data by having security systems in place, right? So climate change is upon us, and environmental services are also something that we want to think about. So how do we actually address some of these innovation challenges, and how do we get the entire industry to adopt new technologies? Now we have, this is an entire ecosystem at a glance. It really takes a village, so we welcome you to come and join us. We actually have about 4,000 startups coming in place and a lot of funds. We also have a lot of deep tech innovation that's happening in the country, as well as the founders, SGs, as startup SG networks as well. So once again, we have quite a few continuous flow of information and talent. We have all the accelerators, venture builders coming into Singapore with all the funds coming in. And we also have a lot of investment framework to draw some of the talent to Singapore. So what we hope that you will find is that if you want to come, if you have an idea, we welcome you to come to Singapore to actually use Singapore as a launch pad, as a living lab to expand into Asia, because we have quite a few challenges still around, right? So we know that, that there are legal things in place as well. We have also a lot of businesses actually being formed. And in this pandemic, we also see that probably there will be new businesses coming online. So I think this is a fantastic time to see what the industry is going to come up with and what's going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years and when they're all really mature. So as we digitalize Singapore to actually start to see how things move and simulation of it all, where we see things in 3D, we also still have some lessons that are unaddressed. We have sea level rise, a drowning Sunda shelf that we sit on, and we also have, the government has already put in disaster risk insurance for the entire region, for all the countries to come and work together to mitigate some of these disasters. So even as Singapore is the lightning capital of the world, even as cloud meets infrastructure, we hope that with this last slide, I wish you anyone who is interested in Singapore, please come and join us in the construction industry and try and innovate for the future. Thank you.